speak then? What was your name? It couldn't have been Smith or Jones or Bunch or Powell. That wasn't your name. They don't have those kind of names where you and I came from. No, what was your name? And why don't you now know what your name was then? Where did it go? Where did you lose it? Who took it? And how did he take it? What tongue did you speak? How did the man take your tongue? Where is your history? How did the man wipe out your history? What did the man do to make you as dumb as you are right now?
You go into the restaurant, you order a hamburger, right? The presumption is that it's a restaurant. You know for a fact they sell food. They don't give it away, right? You order a hamburger, right? Is there a presumption that you're going to pay for it? You're in a contract. So there are contracts going on here, right, that we have entered into. However, whereas when I walk into Burger King, I know that they expect me to pay for the burger, right? When I was born in America, I did not know that they expected me to be subject to the jurisdiction of some people in Washington, D.C. or wherever that I don't know, have never seen, and have no influence or control over. Yet and still they dictate and determine every aspect of my life. They say how much my labor is worth, how much I can get paid, where I can live, what I can do and what I can't do. They make all of the decisions. I don't know any of them. And I never had any understanding at the time of my birth that I was under an obligation. Key word, and I'll make this brief, but it's something very important to understand. If you're subject, and you can go to Black's Law Dictionary or Bouvier's Law Dictionary and look it up and it'll tell you subject. Okay, it means one who's in obligation. If you're under an obligation, that means you can be compelled to the performance of that obligation. Okay, if you look in United States Code, Title 18, which is the criminal code, compelled performance, right, is defined as involuntary slavery, and it's a crime. Wow. Okay, so if you're subject to the jurisdiction of the United States, clearly that means the United States can compel you as being subject to its jurisdictions, subject to its declarations, can compel you to perform. We can make you fasten that seatbelt. And if I can compel you to do something that's against your wishes, that's involuntary slavery, which means you're a slave, which means everybody's a slave.
So for our viewers, I want to point out that this book is not really so much a political or racial matter. It seems like a more legality matter between the America government and its citizens and the contractual misunderstanding.
Well, if you want to call it misunderstanding, but basically, yes, absolutely, the book is definitely not about politics because our situation is not political. Our existence here is a matter of law. The slaves were brought here under the law, maintained here under the law, and when they were allegedly freed, we were incorporated into this whole corporation, this whole corporate contract fraud scheme as a matter of under law. I mean, law governs everything about your life. I mean, you know, law governs what neighborhoods you can and can't ride in. I mean, for instance, if you were caught riding around in a neighborhood that, you know, like the CEO of Chase Manhattan, Chase Corporation, you know, like you don't know somebody out there, buddy, you're in trouble. Okay, so you know, law governs just about everything. So it's a matter of law, yeah. And as far as the reason that the reparations, I got sidetracked. I didn't completely clarify. You know, the fraud is the basis for our claim of reparations, right? That we should be compensated for having been deceived. Okay. The 7 questions in the book, and what this is all about is saying, you know, clearly, you know, the federal government uses our name to the Social Security and the birth certificate and everything, and they borrow money on it. I mean, you know, the national debt's like 25 trillion. Speculated as being in excess of 75 trillion, you know. It's like in, you know, 2030 and all that. Hey, and they keep borrowing money, and they're borrowing money on the presumption that what they're saying to the bankers that they're borrowing this money from is that, hey, the American people are going to work and pay taxes, and through those taxes we can pay the interest on these debts. So basically, you're using me to get money that I don't get any benefit out of that money. I mean, you know, you say, oh, we bought guns to defend the country. Well, I don't see anybody trying to attack the country. Somebody might fly an airplane to the bullets. So fucking what? I don't see that, you know, you've done anything that would preclude that from happening again if somebody wanted to do it again or anything else. Really, the country's not under attack. That's number one. So don't tell me defense. Oh, you want to go into space? Well, I didn't lose anything in space, and there's really not anything that I think I want from up there. Matter of fact, there's nothing else that you're doing with the money that you're borrowing and making me pay for it. Because you're borrowing it, you're using it, you're making decisions about what to use. You're not even coming and asking me, well, we borrowed $3 trillion from the Federal Reserve. Mr. Spade, what do you think we should do spending? You're not asking me. Not asking you. You're not asking anybody. They're telling you, well, we did it and we decided to use it for ass light because we're out of toilet paper. And what are you going to say? Right? I don't like that. I'm not going to pay for that. And then the IRS comes and says, oh, you didn't pay your dues, buddy. You know, time for you to go sit somewhere. Think about that for a while. So, I mean, look at Wesley. You didn't pay your dues, buddy. He says, okay, all right, you got me here. Let me pay you the dues. Yeah, that's all right, nigga. You paid the dues. You still go sit your monkey ass somewhere for a fucking wild black ass motherfucker. The fucking thick you are. And that's how they treat us, man. That's how they carry us, man. We ain't standing up like men. They'll stand up in my face and hold your nuts. I'm like, yo, nigga, woo wah wah. Hey, I didn't do it. Why don't you go over here? Matter of fact, I got your back. Right? And that ain't just motherfucking smack. I'm saying for real. Let's go in here, man. Fuck this motherfucker up. He's been playing us. You know, we should have a claim in the International Court of Claims. You understand what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You owe me, dude. You've been taking my money and you never told me this bullshit that you done put me into a trick bag. That's what I'm explaining. The nature and the character of the trick shot that has been played on us that, hey, we didn't know. I think if black folks really knew and understood, it'd be a whole different story. Piss these niggas off. It'd be like that, you know. This would be like the old joke where the nigga said he knows karate, but I know crazy. So niggas know crazy. They just gotta have a reason, you know. And basically, I'm trying to say, yeah, you have a reason. It's just been hidden from you. I'm trying to take the covers off that.
Okay, so what's your response that you're trying to get to youth to be inspired from the book?
I'm gonna tell you something. I won't even go into the cost in blood and pain and punishment I paid to gain the knowledge that's in that book. Right? I would be more than pleased to know that people have read it and just understand what it says. For black people, it's up to black people as a collective body to do whatever it is we're going to do. We're going to do nothing. I mean, if you just say, well, you know what, man, I see that, and I think whatever I think about it, but I'm not really moved to act on it, I would have to accept that. Say, well, that's what it is. Like, hey, I feel one way, you feel another way. You have a right to feel how you feel. You know, we have to respect that. But if I know that you know, I can say mission accomplished. Okay. As opposed to if you don't know, and I'm sitting here and I'm looking at them saying, this nigga don't know. Then, you know, how could I say that out of my mouth? Well, did you try and tell him anything? Yeah, what kind of bullshit ass motherfucker are you? You used to know what you're talking about. Well, I know, but the nigga don't know. You didn't try and tell him. So I put forth my best effort to say, look, y'all, pay me attention, don't pay me attention, whatever comes after that, I put in work for this. You got it. It belongs to you.
What work would you see that is? What is your background? What brought you from, you know, to this point where you have gained this knowledge to just to be a you know, a light in the darkness of this fraud that is
well, that's kind of a long story. When I was 19, I joined Black Panther. I don't even get from that. A year later, when I was 20, I left the party. I became involved in the New African Independence Movement. The New African Independence Movement was the movement of the people who were a part of Malcolm's organization and had attempted, or you know, they put forth the effort to bring to realization Malcolm's political philosophy, what we call the Malcolm X doctrine. self-determination. We should determine life for ourselves. We should be independent, free people, making our own decisions, as opposed to being what Malcolm probably understood even back then, that we're just now coming to understand, subject to somebody else's dictates and determination. Okay. So that's my political past and history. I mean, in terms of my in life, I've been a financial planner. I've been a soldier. I've served in the military. Obviously, I've had a corporate world education, the thing that brought me to this was that I'm still very loyal to the idea and the concept of American independence. I had the typical experiences, and I say typical because it happened to a lot of black folks. In 1995, we're driving while black. In fact, I wasn't even driving; I was parked. A cop comes over and makes a big issue out of it. I was carrying a pistol without a permit. No problem. I didn't have a problem with that. I didn't think it was going to be a big deal. However, I had some documents that we characterized as militant documents about the independence movement. So they call the FBI, Secret Service comes, and then they find out who I am. That back in the 70s, I was this character. So they don't just let it go. It's just another nigga just got arrested. White folks will do what they're going to do with him. They made it a political issue, right? And they put me in prison. And but they were really trying to punish me for not submitting, not bowing down, not being thoroughly submissive to their. I said in the court that I've never given all governments derive their just power from the consent of the government. I've never given my consent, and therefore I don't really feel that you can make rules that dictate to me my conduct. I haven't robbed anybody, I haven't killed anybody, I haven't harmed anybody. So all that stuff that you want to just say, well, you can tell me what to do, I don't agree with it. If you're arrogant, we need to teach you a lesson. So they sentenced me to 8 years, 9 months in prison for the pistol, and which is an inordinate amount of time. At that time they were giving out 24 months. It's like the feds, right? So in the course, they sent me to this prison in upstate New York, and it was supposed to really be like a punishment. Right? It's a very intense place, and I met these white dudes, right? Who black, there's a lot of racism in the prison system, as there was never supposed to be any type of connection between me and these guys, because these guys were all what the government calls white separatists. Right? They weren't really white separatists. That's a characterization, like black militant. If you don't agree with what the government says, they just put a label on it, right? It's like, hey, it doesn't mean you're. These guys, white separatists are racist, and they make black people think that. If a person says the government says a person is a white separatist, that means automatically he's a racist. Well, I don't know. When you say white separatist, what do you want to separate from? Because they call me a black separatist. Well, what do I want to separate from? I'm not separating from nothing. I'm just saying that you don't rule me. You can't control me. And I don't agree with you telling me what to do. It doesn't mean that I'm trying to separate from anything. I'm not bothering anybody. I go to work. Now, I go to work, I come home, I pay my taxes. I don't have to pay them, you take it anyway. I'm not complaining about anything. So what does that make me trying to separate from? But that's a term you want to use because you want to distort someone else's view before they even know who I am. And that's what that really was. I was sitting in, back then, the feds,